Headed out to deliver. Short little local route, kind of close to home. Call this truck the Green Goblin. She's a money maker. Uh-oh. Def's empty. This truck is a moneymaker. Picked it up for I think 20,000 bucks from a used truck dealership. And it's not very pretty, but it's got a nice motor, plenty of power, easy to drive, maneuverable, gets in and out of small spaces. It's not bougie. It's getting hot in here. Maybe next time. Stop. Look. Twice left. Once right. All right, we're good. Those cameras on my hat, you guys are gonna get whiplash watching me looking back and forth in my mirrors nonstop. You'll get car sick and not even in the truck. Oh. Look at that guy going the speed limit. What a good guy. Gotta be careful with this little trailer. How sharp this truck turns. We're not careful, that hitch on the back can turn tight enough that the whole thing kind of jackknifes and air hoses get crushed against the bumper of the truck. Not good. Not good. Need to get some fenders on these wheels. Normally, when we pull a trailer, it's got a drop deck over the top of the fifth wheel, and all the spray from the tires goes up under the trailer. But when we're pulling this one, tires like to flip mud back on the bags. Not a great look. In fact, I'm gonna go around this puddle because I don't want to coat the bags in water. Yeah. Spanish Fork's best kept secret. Shepherd's Carpet and Flooring. I don't think I've ever been there, but if I'm being honest, I think Spanish Fork's best kept secret is on that billboard out there. Yes, Spanish Fork does have an adult novelty store. 2 of them actually. Still got more churches than adult novelty stores though, so I think we're doing okay. For any of you wondering if I'm actually out of def, the answer is I think that gauge is broken. This truck definitely still uses def. And these left turns are why I like this little tag trailer. It follows straight behind you. Look at that. No dragging across the inside of the other guy's lane. I've been through a lot of trailers and different truck combinations. Kind of took a while to figure out what the best equipment setup was for us. We started delivering these bulk bags. We started out with like a dually pickup truck, like a Ram 5500 and a Ford F450. Brand new. They were nice trucks. And we had them set up kind of like a hot shot rig with a gooseneck trailer, like a 40-foot gooseneck trailer. They were Diamond C, just heavy built gooseneck trailers. And back then, I didn't have any experience with semi-truck tractors or any kind of tractor trailer combinations. I'd never driven a semi before, and I just assumed that it was going to be easier to drive full-size pickup trucks with gooseneck trailers, and that the maintenance would be a lot cheaper, and that the cost of entry would be a lot cheaper. And I was dead wrong. Back then, with the gooseneck trailer, we were able to load up roughly 6 to 8 tons of feed, plus the skid steer that we usually carry to unload all this stuff. One wheel. I used to have one of those. I crashed on it so many times. And it's because I am too old to drive a one wheel. Back to the truck and trailer setup. Yeah, so we could put our skid steer on and about 6 to 8 totes, depending on how full the bags were. And we were maxed out at that weight. We kept wearing the brakes off of our trailers, going through brake pads like crazy. And I just didn't have a lot of confidence about whether what we were doing was safe or not. I mean, technically, we were within the actual rated towing limits of the trucks. But kind of crazy these days, they build those full-size pickup trucks with more and more horsepower, but they don't add any more truck. More engine and the same amount of truck, which means the same amount of brakes, means the same axle thickness, same amount of frame, same size of hitch. We were dragging 40,000 pounds through a gooseneck ball. Luckily, we never had any incidents, but we were burning brakes off. Not burning brakes off. We were wearing out brake pads quickly, and I was always uneasy about whether the trucks were actually up to the task. And turns out they're not that cheap. And so when the demand started increasing to the point where we needed an actual 48-foot or 53-foot flatbed trailer and a semi-tractor, I bought this truck for $20,000 and it has more than paid for itself in increased capacity, reliability. Gosh, never looking back. I don't think I would ever buy a full-size diesel pickup truck ever again. So yeah, I used to be able to get 6, maybe 8 tons of feed total. Now when I'm pulling the drop deck trailer, I can get 16 to 18 tons of feed, so we more than doubled our capacity. Also back then I thought, oh man, I'm sure that fuel economy is way better in a full-size pickup truck. Well, fuel economy is actually not that bad in a semi-tractor like this one. I think we get roughly 6.5 in this truck. Pretty good. And we used to get in our Ram, the 5500 Ram we had, it was a cab chassis setup with a high gear ratio, so it wasn't as good a fuel economy. I think we got 7.5, and then in the Ford we'd get 8. The F450, go a little faster, we'd get 8 miles per gallon pulling full loads. So now we're only getting 15% less fuel economy, and we have double the capacity for hauling, plus all the safety factors associated, like way bigger brakes and big engine brakes and a second axle, a humongous hitch. Just altogether much better setup. I do have a different machine on the trailer than I normally carry. Our preferred machines for unloading all this stuff at customers' locations is our skid steer. Skid steer with tracks. But this particular customer has a shed whose entrance is too narrow for the skid steer to fit through, and I can't reach all the way back to be able to place the product where it needs to go. So that machine I brought is a JCB Teletruk, and it has a telescoping boom that helps me reach just a little bit further in, place the items right where the customer wants them. Zoom, zoom. Oh, there we go. Love that. Thank you, sir. We're both driving green tractors. We have arrived. On gloves, keep my hands clean. Not because I'm afraid of getting them dirty, but because I'm afraid of getting them dirty. Hopefully there's a breaker bar in here. Half the time we go somewhere and that is not where it should be, but we got lucky today. And I'm not the one who loaded this truck, so figuring out these straps might be a challenge. There we go. Got her. Alrighty. This new trailer is pretty nice when it comes to these ramps. Our big trailers, the drop deck, just have manual ramps. You gotta grab them and heft them over. This one's nice. Little airbag system. Dump all the air out. Yeah, once the air's gone, bag compresses. Unless the ramps fall. You know you've arrived when you have automatic ramps. Oh, these chains do look really bad. I promise they weren't rusty like this a week ago. Make us look bad. Just look like we don't know how to have nice chains. This bag actually stays here. Well, it stays on the trailer. It has to go to somebody else's house. So I will be strapping that back onto the trailer in a few minutes. No, this is why I wear gloves. Once I'm all done delivering, my baby soft hands will still be baby soft. If we're lucky, we'll get a train crossing while we're here. Last time I was delivering to this place, that's what happened. It was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. All right, here we go. Hey, like I was saying, we don't usually deliver with this machine because even though it has four-wheel drive, it's very heavy and it will sink in the mud. Sometimes we got to drive across people's pastures to get their feed put into like a hay barn, stuff like that. And we buried this thing once or twice. In fact, one time my driver had this on delivery like 2 years ago. And he totally got stuck in some guy's pasture. Some soft topsoil. And he was like 100 miles away. And anyway, the customer didn't have any machinery to pull him out with, so we got creative and looked on Craigslist in that town to find out if anybody had like a skid steer or a Mini X for rent. I called the guy that was renting the machinery out and asked him if he'd be willing to take that stuff on site and let us pay him as an operator to pull our machine out at the customer's house. And he totally did it. So yeah, it's a nice lesson learned. Don't give up hope. There's probably a solution within reach. I'm just gonna place this over here for a minute, get it out of the way. I love that squeaking sound. We don't grease our machines on purpose because we want them to squeak. We generally just prefer to have a squeaking sound. Anytime we drive something. What a beautiful day. Man, beautiful day. So this place is actually a horse riding school. And what we are delivering is hay pellets. There's an unhappy goat over there. Or a very happy goat. One of the two. Oh yeah, so this is what we're delivering. Hopefully all that's saved. This is weird. When I deliver here, I'm always careful to try to rotate the old stock out. This is the tricky part because this whole shed is on a slope. Drag it back and reset and go again. Yeah. Oops. A couple more things to move over here. Those are not worms. That is beet pulp. That is shredded beet pulp, soaked in water to make it soft so the horses can eat it. Looks like we also brought some chicken feed for this customer. Go ahead and place that in a dry spot. Yeah, beet pulp. That's where the phrase, "I'm gonna beat you to a pulp," comes from. Just kidding, that is not where that phrase comes from. No. Beet pulp is made from sugar beets. And sugar beets are a source of sugar. Surprise, surprise. I think in the United States they're mostly used for molasses production. And then once all the sugar's been extracted, then the leftover fiber is dried up and ground into a feed product. It's actually really good nutrition for like fiber digesting animals like cattle and horses. Because unlike people, when you eat fiber and it goes right through you, those kinds of animals have special bacteria living symbiotically inside their digestive systems that break down the complex carbohydrates in the plant fibers, and what results is a source of protein and energy, nutrition for the animal. All right, one last bag. Still recording? Oh yes. We are almost done here. Check. Look for soccer moms. All right, here we go. Whew. We will see if that bag rides all the way over. I don't think it will. Why don't you go ahead, drop it in the comments right now. Will that bag fall off, or will it stay put? I will pin the first comment that says correctly what the bag does. Oh. Yeah. It went. Oh my. That's all right. This is easy. All right. Now will that bag stay? Put it in the comments below. Oh, it's becoming quite a chore. We are almost there. All right, battery died for a few minutes there on the camera. Whoops. I am all done and we are on to the next stop. One last soccer mom check. Oh, no sir. All right, let's get this item back on. Go. All right. I'm going to turn the truck back on. I'll let it rebuild some air pressure because we need it to put those ramps back up. All right. Now you have to say, yeah, they ain't going nowhere. Are you even a truck driver if you don't say that ain't going nowhere? Now, I am aware that in certain cases, aka all cases, anything that's not directly braced up against some kind of DOT approved headboard has to have 2 straps on the front. Unless it weighs less than 1,100 pounds. So does it? I'm not saying. That's for me to know and you not to know. Also, fun fact, these airbags right here that work the automatic ramps are the same thing that hold the truck load up. See that? So anyway, if you're curious how a truck carries all that weight and does it smoothly, that is how it works. So we'll head over to the next customer's house and check in on the way home. Okay, we are at the next stop. More of a main road here. So yeah, this happens sometimes. Well, she made it. Didn't fall off the trailer. The whole 3 miles. Managed to stay put. Well, some of you may be wondering what such a humongous bag of animal feed is doing in a residential area. And my answer to that is you would not believe how many chickens your neighbors probably have. I'm just hoping that this gravel is nice and packed and I don't have to call anybody to come bail me out. Seems so far so good. Sweet. All right. Let's go. I have a sister that lives just around the corner and she needs help with the ping pong table. So I'm gonna go do that.